Hello and welcome to this video about emergencies and making sure they do not always take us out of what we actually wanted to do. So that's something I see in others, and I do it myself on occasion, or trying not to, is, that something happens. So it can be something like, spilled glass of water. It can be your child getting sick. It can be technology not working when you want to start your event. Or it could be, I don't know, of course, a car accident. There are different levels, of course, how important something is, which is part of what I'm going to share. But basically, something is happening that you hadn't planned, that's, different, that's unusual to what you were expecting, and it's getting into your way. And how do you deal with it? So what often, of course, happens is because of, this novelty and this unusual thing that is completely taking our attention, we kind of fully jump on it, forget where we're coming from, forget, what we need maybe, as in self-care, and just focus on that, or taking care of someone, whatever it is. And that I find, of course, sometimes this is what the situation requires, but if you can instead take a few seconds, a few moments to just check with yourself in how you're doing, how it's affecting you, super important, of course, to, make sure that you have the energy actually to then engage with that thing, but also to really check in and compare it, maybe just really for a fraction of a second, to what you actually had intended to do, and see how it measures up. Because the way, as human beings we are wired is, because that thing is unusual and different, we tend to fully jump onto it and fully give our attention to it, and almost forget about what we were doing, or we might remember it a couple of hours later. But that, of course, can be really detrimental, because sometimes, of course, these things are not always life-threatening. Like I said, some of these things do not require our immediate attention. Like I said, like the spilled glass of water, maybe it can wait for 5 minutes, or maybe you just mop it up, but then you still need to, dry something afterwards, and it's not going to make a difference if that thing you need to dry lies there for another couple of minutes, or maybe even half an hour, depending on what it is, of course. And the same thing, even if your child is sick, maybe you need to reassure them immediately, or pop them like a honey lemon pill if their throat is aching. But of course, you might not need to rush immediately to the doctor or something, or cancel all your plans because now your child is sick, because you don't even know yet. I mean, yes, maybe if they have a fever, but that's exactly what I'm trying to remind you of, to have that moment, because of course often what otherwise happens is we go almost into this panicky mode, and that's when we don't function at our best anymore and make the best decisions anymore. And something I think why I had to think of it is often what I've seen is, either it's taking care of others, or it's seeing something around you, like, maybe you work from home now, or if it's in your office and you see something that needs to be fixed, needs to be cleaned, needs to be given to someone else. And it takes your attention, and you go with it, and you forget, or you don't even forget where you want to go back to, but it takes brain power to then, turn around back and go back to that thing, instead of letting it go for a moment and just having this check-in of, does that require my immediate attention, or can I leave it for a couple more minutes, couple more hours, couple more days even, in some instances. Because that way, like I said, you will stay focused on the thing that you really want to do, because obviously I'm assuming that you worked out what is the most important thing you need to do, what really needs your attention, so this is an important thing you do. That's the baseline, that I'm expecting you to have the things that are going to move things forward for you, so they're important. Is this thing more important, or isn't it? And can you check that in a second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds? It doesn't have to be long, but just having that moment. And it's also that moment where you step back, like I said, where you might check in, how's this affecting me? Because like I said, it's what I'm trying to get across. It's being aware of what's happening also on an emotional level. Because that's, of course, often what then trips us up, if we're running with our emotions and not with the rational decisions, because we all know, as human beings, we're supposed to be super rational, but we're actually not. So anything you can put into place to help yourself to make the better decision in that moment, you will benefit from. And like I said, short video, I'll leave you with that. Let me know how you're getting on. Until next time, bye.